First, let me ask you a question. How many people in here are normal? Okay, put your hands down. Put your hands down. Now, my next question. How many people in here are different? All right, wait a minute. Put your hands down. That doesn't make any sense because a lot of you raised your hand when I said who's normal, and some of the same people raised their hands when I said who's different. So which one is it? Are you normal or are you different? Now I want you to really think about it this time. Who is normal? Raise your hand. Okay, there's less hands this time. And who is different? There's more hands. All right, you can put your hands down. The reason I ask that question is because I think every morning when you wake up for school or you wake up for work, you want to do the same thing every day. And you think everyone else is doing the same thing. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you eat breakfast, you might take a shower or a bath, then you get in the car or the bus and you go to school. Pretty much everyone in this auditorium do the exact same thing. So that makes it normal. That's what everyone's routine is. But when you start looking at each other, you might think you're normal because you're the same color as someone else, or you have the same color hair, or you're short or you're tall. But when you really think about it, no matter how similar you are to somebody, you're still very different. And I'm looking at everybody in this class in the 4th and the 5th grade, and I see a lot of different looking people. And the nice thing is, that's what's normal. The normal thing is everyone is different. No one is the same. The difference between somebody with blonde hair and brown hair is the color of their hair. The difference between somebody's skin color is that somebody might be darker, somebody might be lighter. Taller, shorter, skinny, big. Somebody might wear glasses or headbands. Somebody might have a ponytail. Somebody might get a crew cut. Someone might have long hair. Everyone's different. And that also includes kids that have no hair. So let me ask you a question about kids and people with no hair. If you have no hair and you're a kid, do you think that person is sick? What do you think some of the reasons why you would have no hair if you were a kid? Okay, they might have a disease, but it's not contagious. You could have cancer. And the reason why kids that have no hair have cancer, it's not because of the cancer, it's because of the medicine. It's because of the treatments that they do. It makes them lose their hair. And cancer is probably the worst thing that you could ever think of. But there are some kids out there that don't have hair, and it has nothing to do with cancer. It doesn't hurt. It's not contagious. There's no medicine made for it. Really, the only thing that happens is that the body attacks the hair follicles. So if you look at your arm or your hand, you see those little holes where the hair is sticking out of? Those little things are called hair follicles. And it's like a pot with a plant in it. And when you put a plant in a pot, there's dirt in there, right? But if there's no dirt, what happens to the plant if you turn it upside down? It just falls out. Well, there's a disease called alopecia. It's an autoimmune disease. And there's like 99 other autoimmune diseases. And you might have heard of some of them, like juvenile diabetes, and MS, and rheumatoid arthritis, celiac disease, and a whole bunch of other ones. So what ends up happening is that your body just says, hey, I see a hair follicle, it should be there, I'm going to make it go to sleep. It paralyzes it, and the hair just falls out. In some kids, most of the kids, only a quarter-size bald spot happens, maybe once or twice on the head, maybe a little bit more. And it falls out and it grows back in over the person's life. Sometimes it falls out once and never again. So there's a lot of people that have alopecia, and that's what that's called, is alopecia. In the United States, there's probably about 6 million people that have it. And there's probably even more, because a lot of people might have a quarter-size bald spot, and they might not think it's very important to go to the doctor. So nobody will ever know that they have it. Because if you have long hair, you can hide it. But there's about 200,000 people that have it a little bit worse. And those are called alopecia totalis, and that's where you lose almost all the hair on your head. But you still have your eyelashes and your eyebrows and your skin hair. And alopecia universalis. Universalis means you lose all the hair on your body. You don't have eyebrows or eyelashes. You don't have ear hair or arm hair. You don't have nose hair. And you think to yourself, you know what? I have nose hair. Everyone has nose hair. When you get a cold and you get the sniffles and your nose runs, one of the reasons why your nose, the reason it doesn't run a lot is because you have nose hair. When you don't have nose hair, your nose runs a lot. And if you don't have hair in your ear, a lot of times you can get dirt and get ear infections. So a lot of the kids that have universalis, that have no hair on their bodies, they tend to get eye and ear and nose problems. But they're not sick when it comes to feeling pain or needing medicine. But there is a big problem when you have no hair and you're a kid. What do you think the biggest problem is when you have no hair and you're a kid? She got it. People might bully you. And how many bullies do we have in this room? I'm going to be honest. When I was a kid, I bullied kids. I made fun of kids, and kids bullied me, and they made fun of me. And I'm not very proud of that, but it's true. Anytime that you make fun of somebody, every time you look at somebody that's different, and you make them feel like they are less important than you, you're bullying them. You don't even have to do it to them. You can just do it. You can just tell your friends, oh, look at that person. That person's black. That person's tall. That person's short. That person has no hair. What you're doing is you're saying, well, I'm normal, and that person's different, and I'm better than them. But everyone here just said that you're all different. There is no such thing as normal. So the most important thing to remember is that just because you look a certain way, or you guys are really quiet, I can tell now. What you guys have to really understand is that it does not matter what someone looks like. You should only judge somebody based on how they act and how they treat you and how you treat them. So alopecia, that's why we're here. In 2003, I had a little girl, her name is Madison. She's a big girl now, she's 16. And I have 4 daughters. I know, I'm crazy. But I love them, and what happened was my little girl started to lose her hair. And she started to lose her hair on the top. Now, I'm 47 years old. I've been going bald for 30 years. So I got used to it over time. But she started to lose her hair really fast. And what do you think her mom and me, what did you think we thought? What kind of feelings do you think we were having? I was really scared. And I'm not very proud to say, I was only thinking one thing. Girls should have hair. Girls are beautiful when they have hair. My 3 daughters that have hair are beautiful. My wife is beautiful. And I have a little girl that's losing her hair. And I'm thinking that might not be very beautiful. And then her hair continued to fall out. And then we took her to the doctor. And the doctor said, it looks like she has something they call alopecia universalis. And that means it looks like she's going to lose all the hair on her head and probably on her body because of how much hair was falling out. So in 3 weeks, she lost about 75% of her hair, where she had no hair on the top or on the back. She had a little bit of hair on the very top and around the sides, kind of like me. We looked like twins. She was this big and I was this big. And I didn't want my little girl to look like me. So when we were driving home from the doctor, I was thinking of all the most horrible things in the world. I was thinking, nobody's going to like her. No one will ever be friends with her. No one will ever love her. She's never going to get married. She will never fall in love and have a family. She's going to be a girl with no hair, and her life is going to be so different than her sisters with hair. And I started to cry. I started crying so hard that I had to pull over to the side of the road. That's how sad I was. And then my wife started to cry. And then in the back seat, we heard a little voice saying, why are we crying? It's not my older daughter. It's Maddie, the one that's losing her hair. She couldn't understand why we were crying. And then I decided that, you know what? She was just in the doctor's office with us. The doctor just told her in front of us that she's probably going to lose all of her hair. And it didn't bother her as much as it bothered me. So we decided that we would never cry or be sad in front of her again. And we were going to try really hard to help her. And to be honest with you, I wasn't helping her as much as I was trying to help me. I don't think it's really fair that a grown-up or a parent would ever think that their little boy or girl would never be as pretty or popular as their other kids. So I was wrong. Everything I thought of in the very beginning, I was wrong. So what ended up happening is that she ended up losing all of her hair. No eyelashes, no eyebrows. And we gave her hats to wear all the time. And her class, which was in kindergarten, they let her wear the hats. Actually, they let her classmates wear hats because they didn't want her to feel bad. So in kindergarten, I don't know if you guys did this when you were in kindergarten, but in kindergarten where we go to school, everyone had to bring 100 of something. So some kids brought 100 marbles, some kids, everyone sees the bubbles now. Some kids brought in 100 marbles, some brought in 100 rocks. Maddie brought in 100 hats. That's how many hats she had. And then there was one day where she was going to be an American Indian in a pilgrim play during Thanksgiving. And she couldn't put her headdress on over the hat because it looked silly. And we said that, well, you have to either take your hat off or put the headdress on over the hat. And then that's when she said probably the most important thing that she could have ever told her mother and me is that she never wanted to wear these stupid hats because she felt different. So we have a little girl that has no hair thinking that she was different because she was wearing a hat. But she was afraid to take it off. So what we did was we went to the mall, and once a week we would go to the mall where there's lots of people, and I would tell her to stand. I was going to go to the other side of the mall, and I would say, take your hat off.